Jesus!
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
All right, YouTube. This is a follow-up to the Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, and Chris Rock saga. And what I'm doing this time is I'm actually going to read. Jada Pinkett actually responded, not directly but indirectly, as sources said, to Chris Rock's Netflix special. If you haven't watched the video that I presented about Will Smith's and Jada Pinkett's relationship, in which Jada Pinkett interviewed Will Smith on her entanglement with another person. Apparently she was having a relationship with another person. And as you guys may or may not know, I think Jada and Will Smith has an open marriage, to be fair. Check that video out maybe a video or two ago. And I'm following up with what appears to be a reliable source discussing what Jada is saying behind the scenes due to Chris Rock's Netflix special over the weekend, talking about that slap that he received from Will Smith on the night of the Oscars. Just a little bit of context. So, Jada Smith had a relationship with, I'm thinking, her son's friend, and it went viral. This was about a year ago on YouTube. It was on Twitter. It was all over the place, and everyone was talking about it. Like millions of people were talking about it. And Chris Rock made a joke about it at the Oscars last year. Will Smith proceeded to walk on stage live at the Oscars and slap the hell out of Chris Rock. He was punished. Chris Rock he spoke on it, but he didn't speak a lot. And I think he saved it up as ammunition. I think he did a really good job of making content off of it, and actually just making a good profit on it, all in good humor. And the reason that I'm actually going to cover this news article is supposedly news, right? This is Hollywood stuff, so he says, she says. Well, we'll call it news stuff. I'm a speech language pathologist, and this is social language. Social language is not just speaking directly person to person. The media, as you know, is social media, and there's social language with this back and forth. So I haven't looked at this article yet, and I'm just going to give my perspective based as a speech language pathologist. All right. So Jada Pinkett Smith has no part in Will Smith's feud with Chris Rock. The comedian is obsessed with her. Okay. So first off, it's not that I like the phrasing of this, but titles are very important. Within this title, Jada Pinkett is already obsessing. Jada Pinkett has already framed this, the title of this article, to say that Chris Rock is obsessed with her. Maybe she has good grounds for it. I haven't seen it yet, but let's see. I don't know if she doesn't have any part. Is it a feud? Well, he did get slapped. But I don't think that's genuine on Jada's part. The reason that Chris Rock got slapped was because he talked about the affair that she had. So that's not him being obsessed with Jada. I don't think so. Let's see. It's coming up to a year since the infamous slap heard around the world, when host Chris Rock was belted by Will Smith on stage after making a joke about his wife's baldness. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that he made a joke about Jada Pinkett's bald head. But come on, these folks are comedians. That's what they do. In the final 10 minutes of his first comedy special since the comedian addressed the incident, and fans are curious to see how Jada Pinkett responds to Chris Rock's selective outrage on Netflix. It sounds like she wants to put it all behind her, but him, we're not so sure. I mean, come on, guys. The guy gets slapped. For how many millions of people have seen that? Like, no, it's to give you context, everyone. I work with high school students as well as adults, right? And I brought this up to a group of high school students, and I said, "Hey, do you guys know who Chris Rock is?" So, who's Chris Rock, right? You know, Chris Rock is 50. These folks are 16 and 17 years old. I said, "Well, Chris Rock, he's a famous comedian," and most of the students said, "Oh, the guy who got slapped by Will Smith." Think about that for a second. There are a lot of people that only know Chris Rock. Keep in mind, Chris Rock is a great comedian, great actor, New Jack City, great star in Hollywood, and there are tons and legions of people out there, especially young people, that only know him as the person who was slapped by Will Smith. It's a pretty big deal, and I don't think it's something he's going to get over anytime soon. Think about that. Imagine being known only, not for your work ethic, the things that you've done in the 50 years of your life. Imagine being known as a meme and only being known as someone who got slapped on stage. Chris Rock has a lot to be concerned about here, rightfully so. Continue. How did Jada Pinkett Smith respond to Chris Rock's selective outrage? Jada Pinkett Smith hasn't issued a statement in response to selective outrage, but sources close to her and her husband say they both want to put the attack behind them. If I were them, I would want to put the attack behind them as well. Jada has had no part in all of this other than being heckled, an insider told People in an article published on March 6th. Chris is obsessed with her, and that's been going on for almost 30 years. Oh. Okay, so she's saying that this obsession hasn't come just from the incident last year. It's been going on for 30 years now. Look where he chose to film his Netflix special. Her hometown of Baltimore. Obsessed. That might have been a jab. Maybe he should have, I don't know. Maybe he should have filmed it in Will Smith's hometown. I don't know. Banned from attending future ceremonies for the next decade, Smith has repeatedly apologized for his behavior. He shared a statement to Instagram the following day. Violence in its form is poisonous and destructive. His behavior last night was unacceptable, inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. It was out of line and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed that my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. Now, this was actually a really wonderful thing for Will Smith to write. Like, it does sound, as much as we can call it a sincere apology, right? Who knows if Will Smith wrote this? These folks have legions. What's up with the word legion? I'm just saying the word legion and legion today. I'm pretty sure Will Smith has scores of people that are willing to write something for him, an apology for him, and he signs off on it. With that being said, in terms of social context, that slap that that Chris Rock received is nowhere near. This apology is not even close enough to repair that damage. Chris Rock's reputation has been soiled and sullied, I would say, beyond repair at this point. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of people, or millions of people actually, that only know Chris Rock as a person who got slapped, not because of his achievements, but because of another individual slapped him on camera. The Oscars. I mean, everyone is watching. Well, not me, but I presume a lot of people are watching Oscars. Smith continued, I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. King Richard? Okay. Who's the Williams family? I deeply regret that my behavior stained what has been otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. So they banned Smith for future events for the next 10 years. The Academy apologized to Chris Rock, and the rest of the Academy and the public for the moment. All right. We also want to thank our hosts, nominees, and presenters and winners for their poise and grace during the telecast. I gotta say, Chris Rock was a stand-up guy. He took that and he continued performing. How many people would be able to continue performing after being assaulted and slapped that way? I'm really telling you, when this happened last year and I saw how Chris Rock responded and he continued the show, I really respected Chris Rock after that. Like, I have a lot of respect for Chris Rock's professionalism. It was amazing the way he was able to continue the moment. He even joked on it on stage. It was beautiful. It was so good that many people thought that it was staged. That's how good Chris Rock handled that situation. For Jada's part, she expressed her desire for the two men to reconcile. It's really hard. Shared her thoughts about her husband's attack, which is Rock made a mention of her. How do you say that word? Alopecia. How do you say that word? Which is the medical term for hair loss and can be caused by a wide variety of medical conditions. Okay. I did not know that he made a joke about her hair, her head. Okay, considering, okay. Alright. So during the Selective Outrage special, Chris Rock said that Will Smith practices selective outrage, and years ago his wife said I should quit the Oscars because her man didn't get nominated for concussion, and then her husband effing gives me a concussion. She starts it, I finish it. Nobody's picking on this B word. It's the first time he's spoken publicly about the incident. I have dodged interviews and insisting he's no victim. Will is embarrassed and hurt by what Chris said about his family on Netflix. He didn't watch it, but he had people tell him what Chris said. A source told E.T. Entertainment in March 2023. And it's everywhere you look online and social media, obviously. The source added that Will apologized to Chris and would like for Chris to let it go. Will has worked on himself. Oscars, he feels that it's enough and wants Chris to move on, so that everyone else can too. No. That, like I said before, it's. I get it if you're the perpetrator of this and you're the person who slapped someone else, but like, how can Chris Rock move on? Like, seriously. Like, I'm telling you guys, there are people that are only going to remember Chris Rock for being slapped the hell out by Will Smith. That's not easy to move off. Like, we're not even, that's just a social part about it. Chris Rock is a man. Like, man, that hurts. Anyway, yeah, I get Will Smith's point of wanting to move on, but it's not that easy. You don't get to choose how people respond to being physically assaulted. He is upset that Netflix gave Chris the platform to share the message and thinks it's distasteful. Distasteful? Huh. That's interesting. So, one person slapped someone at the Academy Awards. the other person doesn't slap you back or punish you or hit you back, they make a special about it. And you think that's distasteful? Will Smith is out of pocket on this one. This is not a good look for him. He's tried unsuccessfully to make amends in the best way he could with Chris. Okay. That's respectable. I do wonder what ways he tried to make amends with such a public humiliation. Chris Rock isn't worried about any backlash. He said what he needed to say, and he doesn't give a S about the reaction either way. He isn't worried. And Insider told people have been waiting for a reaction for a year, and this was so smart of Rock. For the most part, I think it was well received. People don't expect sugarcoating from Chris Rock. Here's Jada Pinkett, and to be fair, I am sorry about her alopecia and her hair loss. So I totally get that. That doesn't give your husband a right to slap someone on camera in the middle of Oscars. Okay. If you need a refresher on what went down, I do at the 94th Academy Awards. Here's what happened. Rock made a comment about Jada being G.I. Jane, seemingly in reference to her shaved head. Okay. In response, okay, it wasn't direct. He didn't say her head was shaved. Jada could be seen rolling her eyes. Will initially laughed, but within moments he could be seen walking up on stage. Whoa. Was that the only joke? Did he only make the one joke about the G.I. Jane? Let's look at this again. So Rock made a comment about Jada being G.I. Jane in reference to her shaved head, and in response, Jada could be seen rolling her eyes. Will initially laughed, but within moments he could be seen walking up on stage. Okay, no. So, and the audience members, assuming it was all part of the act, sharing and laughing before Smith belted Rock across the face. No. So, it seems like Chris only mentioned not a direct joke, but an indirect joke about Chris Rock's wife. That's very important. It was indirect, and it was only one comment. And he immediately got up in moments and slapped the heck out of Chris Rock. This lends itself to the theory that Chris was saying, in which it seems like everyone was talking about him and Jada Pinkett, because everyone were talking about them around the same time period, and it did seem like he took it out on Chris Rock. Like, one small joke, indirect slap. I thought it would have been more of a build-up. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me, Chris said in disbelief. From afar, Will could be heard yelling, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice, and from then on, audience members realized it was not scripted but a very real assault. A bewildered Rock looked around, seemingly for guidance from the Oscars crew, and he said, "Okay, that was the greatest night in the history of television. You can watch the intense and really uncomfortable, uncensored broadcast here." You want to watch it, guys? Let's see it.
You know who's got the hardest job?
Come on, man.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are...
Okay, hold on. Check this out, guys. This has been viewed 108 million times. $108 million times, right? Wow, okay. That's a lot.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard.
Jesus!
Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
All right, guys, there you have it. No. Pause. There you guys have it. Do you guys really think that was called for? No.